Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. I am so glad to have you here. Today we are going on an adventure, or what I like to call an adventure. So we are visiting some free little libraries in Peterborough, Ontario. So if you don't know what free little libraries are, they're basically these little book boxes that people have outside their properties on the street. And you can find them on freelittleLibrary.org. There's basically a map of every single one, or almost everyone, in all the major cities. So if you couldn't tell, I love reading, and free little libraries are really cool because you can basically just go and pick up a book or leave a book for someone else to read. It's a really cool way to discover new books around your community and share books with others and read for free. So I am super excited for today. So I am going on this free little library adventure with my mom, my sister, and my dad, and we are all gonna look for books, and we're basically gonna drive around to a bunch of the free little libraries that we saw on the map. So near where we live, there are about maybe 8, 9, or 10 different free little libraries, like all in a circle. So we're gonna check them out. I'm gonna show you what they look like, what books are inside, and at the very end I'm going to show you a haul if I end up getting anything. Without further ado, let's get going. Enjoy this montage. Here we go. So we are back from our adventure of going to the free little libraries. It was a huge adventure that nobody expected. So if you haven't heard, us in Ontario, we got a huge storm that rolled in, and it was basically a small tornado that wreaked havoc everywhere. So power lines were down, trees were uprooted, trees were blocking all the streets, and we were actually driving through it when it happened. So here's some clips of that. And if you haven't seen my video of the huge storm, I'm gonna put it in the cards up here or up here for you to go check it out and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, we had to cut short our free little library excursion because it started downpouring and we couldn't move, we couldn't drive, we couldn't see where to go. Trees were blocking almost every street, so it was like a maze to try and get home. And then when we got home, a tree was blocking our driveway. So it was really, really good that we were out during the storm, because if we were home, our car would have got smashed in with the tree. So now that we are back, it's the next day. We actually didn't have power for about a day and a half. I am finally going to show you all the books that my mom and I picked up. So let's get into it. The first book that I got is called The Innocents by Michael Crummy. And my mom actually first saw it because the cover is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. It looks like it's painted and then there's a little house at the top. It's so beautiful. This book is about two siblings called Ada and Everett Best who are orphaned in an isolated cove on Newfoundland's northern coastline. So basically they were orphaned when they were really young, so they have to fight for survival during meager catches and storms and ravaging illness. Seems like a really interesting story about two siblings who grew up together and have nothing but each other, but it's just their journey through the years and how they survive it. So I'm going to read the synopsis for you. It says, Ada and Everett Best are orphaned in an isolated cove on Newfoundland's northern coastline. Still children with only the barest notion of the outside world, they have nothing but the family's boat and the little knowledge passed on haphazardly by their mother and father. As they fight for their own survival through years of meager catches and storms and ravaging illness, their fierce loyalty to each other motivates and sustains them. But as seasons pass and they wade deeper into the mystery of their own natures, even that loyalty will be tested. By turns electrifying and heartbreaking, The Innocents is a testament to the bounty and barbarity of the world, to the wonders and strangeness of our individual selves. This sounds amazing. I'm really looking forward to reading it. I actually read the very first chapter. It's really sad to start off with, so kind of drew me in, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one. So the next book that I picked up is called The Husband's Secret by Leanne Moriarty. And I actually started reading this book this morning. Quick little story for you. My dad and I were waiting in the car for 2 whole hours to get gas because there was one gas station in the whole city that had power and everyone was waiting for gas there. And we were inching slowly to the gas station. So during those 2 hours, I read a little bit of this book. I actually got to page 52 and I have to say I really like it so far. Basically, this book is about this woman named Cecilia who one day finds a letter written from her husband addressed to her, and it says, "Open only in the event of my death." And apparently that letter contains his deepest, darkest secret, something with the potential to destroy not only the life they have built together, but the lives of others as well. So I am super excited to read this. Leanne Moriarty actually wrote a bunch of books that are on my TBR. I haven't read anything from her before, but I heard that she's a really good author, so I am looking forward to this one. The next book that I picked up is called Fresh Water for Flowers by Valerie Perrin. Look at that cover. That's also really beautiful. And this one says that it's a #1 bestseller in France and Italy, where it was dubbed Italy's favorite lockdown novel. And it seems to have gotten lots of praise, been nominated for some awards. This book is basically about a woman named Violette Toussaint, who's the caretaker at a cemetery in a small town in Bourgogne. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. So her life is very predictable, very ordinary. She does the same thing every day. And one day, her routine is disrupted by the arrival of Julien Soul, a police chief from out of town, who has come to scatter the ashes of his recently deceased mother on the gravesite of a complete stranger. It seems like Julien's inexplicable gesture is intertwined with Violette's own complicated past. I think this is a romance. I'm getting romancy vibes from here. It seems like a contemporary fiction / maybe romance, maybe not. Their lives getting intertwined. it seems really interesting. For all of these books, actually, I have not looked at the reviews on Goodreads because if I do that, I might get discouraged to read them. So for these books, I plan to read them myself, give them my own rating, and then look at the Goodreads reviews to see what other people say. Because sometimes if you just look on Goodreads, you can get discouraged, like I have before. I've picked up a book randomly from somewhere and then saw that it got like really not good reviews from Goodreads, and then I'm like, I don't want to read this anymore. And you know what? It's fun to just do the old school way, just pick books based on what you read on the back and read it for yourself and see how it is. I will include these books in my May monthly wrap up if I do finish them. I'm probably going to finish this one because I'll be reading it today, tomorrow, this week. I'm not sure about the other ones, but I will definitely give my review on them when I finish them. So those are the 3 books that I got. Now my mom picked up 2 books. So the first one she got is called How Children Learn by John Holt, author of How Children Fail. This book was only 95 cents when it was printed. It looks pretty old. It was printed in 1967. I'm not too sure what this book is about, but I'm pretty sure it's self-explanatory, how children learn. So I'm just going to read the back for you. It is a chilling paradox that in a country where the most urgent cultural value is education, the educational experience itself is surreal and degrading, especially on the primal level. Holt's book, a poetic, humane, perspective account of his own teaching experiences with the very young, should be required reading. Holt's principle is 2-part. Children are people who can be hurt and discouraged. Children have an incredible capacity for figuring things out themselves. It is a calm, penetrating, extremely revealing examination of American mores from top to bottom. Yeah, it smells like an old book too. Do you guys just love that old book smell? It's so nice. There's just something about it. That new book smell for some books, and then that old book smell. The last book that my mom got is called Half Broke Horses, a true life novel by Jeanette Walls. And this book is actually described as Laura Ingalls Wilder for adults. And that's what drew my mom into this book, because she really loves Little House on the Prairie. It's a story of a girl named Lily Casey Smith who grows up on a farm, I believe. And it's about her life and her adventures and Little House on a Prairie for adults. So it seems like it's going to be really interesting to read. It's basically about her life and what happened and all the adventures she went on, all the things that she went through. She learned to drive a car and fly her plane. She ran a ranch. She raised 2 children. She survived tornadoes, droughts, floods, the Great Depression, and the most heartbreaking personal tragedy. So my mom is going to read this, and if she says that it's really good, then I think I'm going to read it too. I'm not usually into books like these, but this one seems really interesting. This is her. So it's a real life story. Lily Casey Smith, Ashford, Arizona, 1934. That's really cool. And with that, my friends, those are all the books that we picked up at the Free Little Libraries. So we ended up going to maybe 5 or 6 libraries. We had probably 9 or 10 on our list, but what ended up happening is that we drove to some of them and they didn't exist at all. We put the address in our map, we drove to it, and it's like you've arrived at your destination, but it wasn't there at all. So I don't know what's going on the Free Little Library website. There's probably some outdated libraries that are on there. So these are all the books that we picked up from the Free Little Libraries that we managed to go to before the huge storm kicked in. We had to cut it a little bit short. We had maybe 3 or 4 little libraries left on our list, but trees started falling down, power lines started coming down, so we could not stay out. We had to get home. So that's all for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more videos like this, and click that notification bell to get notified every time I post a video. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye.